Hello and welcome to the latest Royal Roundup from talkTV. So, pop the kettle on, this is the Royal Tea. I'm Afua Hagan. Coming up today, we delve into photogate. We'll be discussing the royals at Cheltenham and find out why William and Harry could be preparing for some upsetting news. Now, joining me today to discuss all of that and much, much more are the Evening Standard's royal editor, Robert Jobson, Royally Us podcast host, Christine Ross, and entertainment correspondent and royal commentator, Rebecca Twomey. Now, let's begin with the news dominating the front pages this week. In case you've been living under a rock, here's a quick recap. On Sunday, Kensington Palace released a photograph of the Princess of Wales with her 3 children. Rumours then began circulating that the image had been doctored or was a fake. By Sunday evening, several photo agencies had issued kill notices on the photo, which means they too believe the photograph to not be genuine. On Monday morning, the Princess of Wales tweeted, "Like many amateur photographers, I do occasionally experiment with editing. I wanted to express my apologies for any confusion the family photograph we shared yesterday caused." It's been the story everyone has been talking about, and so much has been said about it already. Robert Jobson, is it time to move on?
Without a doubt. I mean, the fact is, AI is a massive issue at the moment, and I think the agencies that acted within their remit and their responsibility, it's important that when you're issued with an official photograph, and this was because it came via Kensington Palace Press Office, that there's integrity, truth and authenticity about the photograph. But in all honesty, this is Kate, an amateur photographer, just trying to make slight improvements on the photograph that was taken, and it's backfired awfully. So she obviously feels she's fragile at the moment. She obviously feels terrible about it. But I think that she was probably let down by people around her. The press team should have been on top of this. I mean, they have Andrew Parsons, who used to work for Boris, doing the behind-the-scenes photography there, as on their staff, if you like. And I don't understand why they didn't use him, because if you want a wall built, get a bricklayer. If you want a photograph taken, a professional one that's going to be released this way, get a photographer, a professional one. And I didn't really understand why they didn't do that. And I understand that speed is genuine. They probably thought about it last minute, had a photograph taken to release on their website. But, they can't do that anymore. It has to be everything, particularly coming from Kensington Palace, it has to be authentic. And clearly these tweaks that were made, which, are pretty clear with the naked eye, should have been seen by the communications team, and I think they either re-release a different picture, or just certainly not use that one.
Now, Christine, this story has been so big. There was even a question asked about it at the White House press conference. Why is worldwide everybody talking about this?
I think this is definitely an effect of viral tweets, viral TikToks. It's really just taken off on social media. People are really falling into this rabbit hole of conspiracy theories, which is really unfair and unhealthy. We know that the Princess of Wales was not expected to be seen until Easter or until after Easter, and so this story has just exploded simply by a lack of information. People have just generated their own information.
Definitely. Sources in Page 6, an American tabloid site, claimed Meghan would never make that mistake and that the Sussexes would have been annihilated if they distributed edited pictures. Now, a spokesperson from the couple's Archibald Foundation told Newsweek, with respect to Page 6, that did not come from us. This has been a PR disaster for Kensington Palace, Rebecca. We cannot deny that. What can they learn from this?
I think it's the royal family have been trying to modernise for quite a while. And I think what's happened is it's almost gone too far in that, like you said, Rob, they have to react quickly. It's Mother's Day, people want a picture, it's Friday afternoon, let's quickly do this. Just to react, because everything has to be online so quickly now. But I think part of the problem in trying to modernise and doing a relaxed family picture, which is absolutely beautiful, whether properly edited, whether conspiracy theories are true or not, it's a beautiful picture. It was something lovely of the family together. So that's sort of the first problem, I think, and that because they're trying to modernise, we want so much more information and so much quicker all the time. We can't accept that the palace have said Kate Middleton will be out of action until Easter. They've given us as much information as they're willing to, and we can't wait until Easter. We can't be respectful and think, let's just have that grace period. She may well come out after Easter and say, I had this, I'm now working with these charities, or whatever it could be. You know, I just think we need to understand that, you know, we live in a different world, but I think partly, from my perspective, I kind of wish the royals did do a very staged, traditional, you know, shot with an official photographer, and we wouldn't be in this mess.
That's right, and you're absolutely right there, because the Queen, her mantra was always check, check, check again. When they did those official pictures, always taken by a professional photographer, you've got to remember that people would pore over them. You know, the Daily Mail would have, you know, arrows on which particular picture was next to her, and everything. Even when they were doing their Zooms, you know, there was what books was on their shelf. So I think that it's just they probably just got caught up in the speed of things, and you can't do it that way. You know, and the other thing I do think is wrong is the pictures are great, and they are lovely when they're found in pictures. I understand why they've been taken by them, but you know, you're not having a proper archive then of pictures of the future king, of George, and people like that, a proper, authoritative and reliable archive. And I think maybe just use photographers, take a step back and just do it more professionally. But I understand what's happened. It's all the conspiracy theories are baloney. You know, it's just a case of they just wanted to please people, maybe put a stop to the conspiracy theories. And all that's happened is it's just poured, you know, fuel on the flames.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually just given more oxygen to those theories online. Christy, it's quite unusual for us to get sort of this rebuttal from Harry and Meghan, from the Archwell Foundation to Newsweek, you know, saying, you know, respectfully, that comment to Page 6 didn't come from us. But I think there is some truth in that if they had posted a picture that had been edited or manipulated in any way, they would absolutely have been annihilated.
Well, I think so. You know, we have seen Harry and Meghan make some very, very minor mistakes. And I would quantify this Photoshop issue. It has blown up, but I think it was a minor mistake. It was a very human error. And Meghan and Harry are consistently annihilated for it online with absolutely no mercy given. Twitter can become such a toxic place when we talk about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. And I think we have seen a little bit of that for the Princess of Wales with these conspiracy theories, with how dark the commentary has been on Twitter and on social media this week. And I think it really shows, that social media has actually become more unhealthy. We're seeing it really on a downward spiral, despite, you know, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. Meghan just recently spoke out about online hate and what she received while she was pregnant, just in the last few years. And we haven't seen any improvement. I think it's gotten worse in the name of jokes and laughs and the high you get from getting a viral tweet.
Yeah, absolutely. Rob, how do we put an end to all this drama that we've had this week? Is it time for them to release the original image? Is it time for them to just come clean about the picture or what's been happening with the Princess of Wales' health? Where do we go from here?
Well, they won't do any of those things, I don't think. I think that they'll probably just let it run out until Easter when she appears. We've got lots of photographs of her. But yeah, the easiest way to deal with this is to release the original photograph, pointing out the bits that you edited and say, sorry, we got it wrong, but this is the original photograph.
Now, Christine, you know, this photograph, like we've said, actually just gave so much oxygen to the rumours from the sublime to the ridiculous that have been circulating online. Is it time, actually, that Kensington Palace address some of those rumours?
Well, I think the time to avoid this, or the time to have those conversations, has passed. I agree with Rob that the only way forward is really just to wait until Easter, and hopefully on that Easter Sunday service she comes out looking very well and healthy. But there were ways to avoid this. I think the expectation that the Princess of Wales could just completely disappear for 12 weeks was unrealistic, and they needed to realize that and sort of almost drip feed little bits here and there over the last few weeks in ways that didn't involve or upset the Princess of Wales and her recovery. Very simple things. They could take inspiration from Buckingham Palace, who has released those, you know, that lovely video of the king looking at get well soon cards. There were ways to avoid this, but I think from here, there's no way to patch it up.
Rebecca, has people's trust in Kensington Palace and what they release to us, has that trust been broken?
I think sadly so, yes, because I think now we're not sure what to believe and what's been put out. This picture has done so much damage to our trust, it was in hindsight, as I mentioned, it would have been better to do an official photograph, what we're used to. And in trying to modernise, all it's done is make us think, well, what else are they lying about? It might be that there is nothing else they're lying about. But the problem is that once that trust is broken, it's broken forever. And I don't think now anything they come out and say or do it is going to rectify. I think they're very much of the never complain, never explain. But I think you will start seeing source quotes coming from the palace. I don't think we'll ever see anything official that will hopefully try and quieten this down or make the classic PR move of making a bigger story, trying to get a different story out there. Somehow Meghan Markle will be to blame for this. I don't know how, and it breaks my heart to say it, but I think something might be coming out about Meghan Markle very soon.
No, it can't be Meghan's fault, can it?
No, but I mean, people like to think it is. I don't think it is at all. I think people like to say...
I don't know, there's something in there. I think that the Meghan and Harry story seems to have been taken a little bit away. I mean, that page 6, please say, oh, we didn't do it. They've actually responded firmly. So it's nothing to do with us.
Exactly.
And I think that's good.
Yeah, because they try to drag them into it. Oh, you photoshopped an image as well. And actually, the photographer released the original image. Of course, it's not been photoshopped. It's just a bit disappointing that trying to drag Harry and Meghan into something that's nothing to do with them.
Absolutely nothing to do with them.
At all. The royal family bid farewell to Thomas Kingston, late husband of Lady Gabriella Kingston, at his funeral this week on Tuesday. As well as Lady Gabriella and her parents, Prince and Princess Michael of Kent, Prince William was among the members of the British royal family to pay their respects at the service, which took place at the Chapel Royal in St James's Palace. Other royals in attendance included the Duke of Kent and Princess Alexandra, whilst Thomas's close family and friends also made up the congregation of about 140 people. Now, Rob, we didn't see the King or the Queen in attendance at the service, did we?
No, we wouldn't have expected to see either. Really, the King is not in a position to do big public gatherings. And I think the Queen was busy, but they were represented by the Prince of Wales, of course, who knew Thomas. It's a terribly sad story. I remember talking to Lady Gabriella when she was a little girl. The whole thing, I just think that the whole thing is terribly sad. And, it must be awful for Prince and Princess Michael of Kent as well that this is all going on. All we can hope is that Lady Gabriella is given time and space to heal. But an awful story, yeah.
And Prince William was close to Thomas Kingston, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, I mean, Thomas was known around the circle for some time. He went out, I think, with Kate's sister Pippa for a while, but he knew William, and that's why William was in attendance. But really, he was very well liked, and obviously, I'm not going to speculate on the circumstances of what happened, but the whole story sounds very sad, and you can only feel for the family.
Absolutely. Various members of the royal family have been out in force at the 2024 Cheltenham Festival this week, including Queen Camilla, Princess Anne and Mike and Zara Tindall. Ladies' Day, renamed Style Wednesday. Christine, don't really know why. Did the royals bring the style yesterday?
I think they did. It was really lovely to see them all out and about together. There were some really fun photos of Zara and Mike Tindall, but also Zara with Princess Eugenie. They stepped up. Cheltenham has such a unique dress code. It's very country chic, lots of Fairfax and Favour, lots of Penelope Chilvers boots going around, and I loved the opportunity to mix hats and coats. Zara looked amazing in sort of a menswear-inspired suit. It was really lots of fun, lovely to see them out together. And I love race days. I love them any time of year because I think the style is so much fun.
Yeah, definitely. Now, Rebecca, it's been renamed from Ladies' Day to Style Wednesday. Yes. Do we think that kind of changed the look of the day?
I'm not sure if it changed the look. I think it's a shame because Ladies' Day is so iconic. It would be nice if we had Ladies' Day and then a Best Dressed Day, or there were a few other options. But I agree that it was so nice just to see the royals out having fun and doing what they enjoy doing, particularly Queen Camilla. She must be going through the most awful time with all the negative stories and everything that's been happening. Isn't it nice to see the royals going out and enjoying themselves and doing it so, so well dressed, because that's what I want. I don't really like a modern family, dressed in jeans and casual and fake tan or anything like that. I want to see them in traditional, clothing and doing the things that they love doing, because I think that's just such part of our history as Brits.
Has Ladies' Day been changed to Ascot, Royal Ascot?
Not yet.
But they reckon it probably that's going to go as well.
Perhaps
That's going to be that's even more iconic, really, than even the Cheltenham's Ladies' Day. So that would be quite a strange one, wouldn't it?
Yeah, if they change that to Star Wednesday, remains to be seen. Princess Diana's intimate love letters to James Hewitt are reportedly set to go on sale in the United States for about $1 million, sparking fears they could be made public. Hewitt, who had a 5-year affair with the then Princess of Wales between 1986 and 1991, kept 64 letters that she wrote to him. Robert Jobson, this could be absolutely terrible if these letters are made public, couldn't it?
Well, I mean, he's done deals in the past with letters with newspapers, and so we're not sure exactly which letters he's referring to or what is contained within them. But we know that he's fallen a bit on hard times. James Hewitt is and he's trying to cash in here clearly, but I'm not even sure he's got the right to sell them, because if Diana penned those letters, then technically the ownership of those letters are not in the person who received them, but in the person that wrote them. That's the copyright is owned, the letters are owned by them. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe that's why he's selling them in America, I don't know. But I'm sure if that is the case, then Charles Spencer, Lord Spencer, will have something to say about that. Because in terms of the estate, and the boys will too. But look, it's probably, I think this is old history, and I do think that probably it's really sad what's happening. But then again, it will be interesting for the historians to look at what was going on, not necessarily in their love affair, but what she's writing about on other areas, that what was going on amongst the royal family and in the royal family at that time. So historically, I'd be interested to read them, but not necessarily all the lovey-dovey stuff.
Well, I think a lot of people would be interested in the lovey-dovey stuff. But Christine, surely the real victims in this are Harry and William. Could this bring them together somehow?
Well, I think, I'm not sure what would bring them together at this point between their father's cancer diagnosis and the Princess of Wales's recovery. We've had lots of opportunities for them to come together, and I suspect that relationship will take a long time to heal. But really, this information was recently rehashed in The Crown. We've seen this story out and about a little bit, over the last few years. So I'm not sure it's going to have the impact that it might have been a few years ago, before we had sort of had these affairs brought back into the public eye.
Rebecca, Princess Diana still, such an iconic figure. Could this be damaging to her legacy in any way?
I don't think anything could damage Princess Diana's legacy. I think we just all adored her. I think this is a gross invasion of privacy. Yes, we all want to know. I think in a way we want this letter to say she was really happy and she had moments of, obviously aside from being a mum to her sons, she had a lovely relationship which she so deserved to be loved and she so wanted. So wouldn't it be lovely if we could have that confirmed? I do think it's an ultimate betrayal. She's even said herself, didn't she, Princess Diana, that she felt that relationship, wasn't the best, essentially. And I think that's so cruel. But interestingly, with the letter writing, think how Meghan Markle was treated when she felt so humiliated by her own privacy being invaded, with letters, personal letters, being published. And again, the hatred at Meghan about this. Yet with Princess Diana, I think we're much more protective. But really, it's the same thing. And I think if these letters do end up being published, I know in the UK we turned them down to go to auction, but in the US they've moved there at the moment. I just think it's going to change the way we have access to intimate, private details within the royal family. And I think it's sacred, our royal family. I know I want to know as much as the next person, but I think we need to remember to protect something. Something should remain private.
Yeah, couldn't agree with you more there, Rebecca. A federal judge has ordered the Department of Homeland Security to submit documents related to Prince Harry's visa for the court to review after the department refused to release them to the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank. Now, Rob, what does this mean for Prince Harry and what does it mean for his visa status?
Well, we don't know what he put on his application, so I suppose in that respect we're in speculative area, but the reality is, in his book he was quite clear about his drug taking. That has now been said that you can't rely upon that necessarily. It's not a reliable document. But that said, even if he gets through this one, he's got there's an election coming up pretty soon in which President Trump, if he gets in, has said Harry's on his own and feels he's betrayed the memory of the Queen. Look, it's I think that given the fact that he's married to Meghan, he's got 2 children that are now American citizens, I can't really see anything happening, actually, to be honest. And he'll just be allowed to stay. But the bottom line is, it depends if he's lied on his form or what forms he's filled in.
Now, Christine, like Rob mentioned there, we do have an election coming in November. If Trump is back in the White House, is president again, could this be curtains for Prince Harry? But also in the wider scheme of things, do Americans really care about Prince Harry's visa status?
Well, I think Prince Harry's visa status it's very black and white. The requirements are very clear, and they don't really. There's no emotion to it. There's no either you check all the boxes or you don't. And this investigation is really confirming that he hasn't received any preferential treatment, which I don't believe he has. They're really strict on who they let in and who they don't let in. And while it would be taken into consideration the fact that he has an American wife and American children, again, it's literally a checklist where you check a bunch of boxes. But do Americans really care? I don't really think so. The opinion towards the Duke and Duchess of Sussex is so mixed, it's so divisive, even in the US, really worldwide, I would say, that no matter where they land, whether they stay in America, whether they go to Canada, whether they come back to the UK, I don't think that's going to affect their relationship with the people that much.
Rebecca, could we be in a situation where, perhaps if Prince Harry's visa status goes down the pan, could we see them back in the UK?
I'd actually love to see them back in the UK. Not for any negative reason, they've been extradited, but that they make a choice to come back. And I want to see the family come back together. And a bit of a fantasy, I think. Yeah, it's difficult because I like Harry and I'm cross with him for what he said in that book, because he almost seems surprised by the fallout afterwards. And I don't just mean anything to do with Elizabeth Arden 8-hour cream, wink, wink. I mean more when he's talking about how many people he killed in Afghanistan and then seems surprised that Al-Qaeda have a hit on him and then he needs to up his security. And then he makes these revelations about drug taking. And he almost hasn't really joined up the dots, or somebody's maybe coerced him or something into saying stuff to sell copies of a book, which is understandable. But the ramifications of that mean that now this is happening because of something he's done to himself, and that's what makes me just think, Harry, what's going on? Can you just come home?
If you're going to write a book, you've got to, you've paid a lot of money for that, and if you're going to write a book, you've got to tell the truth, that's all he did. He told his version of the truth, and I don't think you can sort of do half in, half out, and he knew exactly what he was doing. He knew what reaction he would get. Unfortunately for him, it's led to a massive fallout. Will they ever come back? I can't see them coming back here, but if they're kicked out of America, maybe they'll be going back to Canada or something like that. I don't know.
Well, that's all we've got time for this week. My huge thanks to Rob, Christine and Rebecca. If you want to join in with the debate, please leave a comment and make sure you subscribe if you don't want to miss a single episode. We'll be back next week with all the latest on the royal family. Hope you can join us. See you then.